There are so many lessons to glean from the biblical account of Esther that still remain true today. In the account of Esther, we learn that, number one, first and foremost, God is always in control of the events happening all around us. In Esther's story, these events take place far from the land of Israel in their history, while many of God's people are still living in exile. Think about it. They're in a place outside the land of Israel while these events are happening. And while God is not mentioned once in this account, if you read the book, he's clearly seen through his act of saving his people by using Esther, by using Mordecai and the king of Persia. Even Esther's name points to this truth, how God saves. Her Hebrew name was Hadassah, as I mentioned before, which means myrtle. It's a type of tree, which was a sign of restoration and blessing. While the name Esther, often connected to the Hebrew verb satar, which means to hide or conceal, is connected to the idea of being hidden. She was hidden for a time, and then she came at the right time. Esther's name, it reflects the story itself, because even though God seems hidden in the book of Esther, he is not. Amen, right? God is always at work. He is never motionless. Even when Esther could not see God moving or feel his presence, he was still working behind the scenes. He was guiding events. He was protecting his people and fulfilling his plan in his perfect timing. Silence does not mean God is absent. Sometimes it is the very moment God calls us to hold our peace, trust his timing, and watch him move. He is always present and active in the lives of his people. No matter where God's people are, he still remains faithful to them because of his covenant promises. He has covenant commitments. And number two, we also learn that sometimes God places us in situations where he wants to use us to fulfill his purposes for the good of others. Sometimes it's not just about you. Sometimes it's about others and what God is doing to reveal himself to others. You know, God called Esther during a time of conflict. It wasn't peace, during conflict. But when her moment came, she stepped up in faith and allowed God to work through her. You know, like Esther, sometimes we may feel inadequate. We don't feel like we're good enough when we know God is calling us to do something. But God can use our faith and obedience to grow us and accomplish his plans for his glory. Sometimes even bringing blessing and salvation to others through us. Number three, we learned that evil plans can be overturned, and the enemies of God's people will always be defeated. Esther's story shows us that God sees every scheme of the enemy, even the unseen plots, the ones that are formed to destroy his people. He sees those. You know, sometimes he brings justice instantly. Other times he waits, but his timing is always perfect. No matter how bleak circumstances may appear, God can use what individuals desire for evil and turn them into good, for the good. Now, just like he exposed Haman's evil plot through Esther and Mordecai, causing his hateful plan to come to nothing, God will always act to protect his people and bring justice in his perfect timing. Our responsibility, your responsibility, is to hold your peace, let God guide us, and watch him work. Number four, we learn that remembering what God has done always keeps us grounded in him and strengthens our faith. There's a reason why this event was recorded and commanded to be remembered. The celebration of Purim by the Jewish people is such a powerful testimony and reminder of God's might, of his protection and faithfulness, not only to his people, but to the world, to all who put the trust in him. We should make a practice to remember what God has already done, because remembering keeps us anchored in faith. You know, looking back at God's power to save always gives us strength to trust him in the present and wait with confidence for the blessings he has yet to release. Today, God calls us to apply these lessons in our own lives. When we face challenges, when we face uncertainty or opposition, we can take courage knowing that God is working behind the scenes, even when we cannot see it. And if we are waiting for breakthrough, we can trust that it will come, but it will come at the perfect time. Our faith, our trust, our obedience, and small acts of courage and faithfulness can also position us to be instruments of God's protection, of his justice, and blessing to the world. Like Esther, we may be hidden in the moment or for a moment, but God can raise us up to make a difference for His glory exactly when He intends.